Hi guys, welcome to Life is for the Living. Today's topic we are going to discuss about how to improve your focus and try to avoid distractions, especially if you're undertaking a serious project or you're a student, you are studying. So how you can be able to, just manage your time and focus. All right, this vlog was requested by a subscriber by the name Angela Wasonga. Shout out to you, Angela. And if you want to be like Angela, so that we can give you a shout out, kindly comment on our topic, and then in the next vlog we'll be able to give you a shout out. Now let us start with looking at some of the causes of distraction. What are some of these things that cause people to lose focus? So before we give solutions, let's look at some of the problems so that we can be able to see how we can be able to tackle them. Now, some problems, I'm going to divide them into three. Now, the first category, I'm going to call them health related. So maybe your focus is based on something that is, has to be fixed medically. So that is one category. The second category is we're going to look at is environmental related problems. Now, it could be something wrong with your surrounding, just the environment within which you're trying to do your activity. And then the third category is, I'll call it habitual, something that you've been, cultivating over time that you actually need to, break a certain kind of cycle. So, okay, so this is how I've classified the problems that, cause distractions and loss of focus. So let's try to look at how we can, dissect them in terms of looking at the problems in details and how we can be able to, give solutions to them. Now, the first and most important thing is for you, first of all, to discover that, and to acknowledge that you have a problem that requires fixing. So once you acknowledge that you have a problem, then it becomes easier to look for a solution. So once you've done the acknowledgement, then the first thing is to look at planning. You have to plan on how to be able to solve the problem that you've just acknowledged, because we know, if you plan, if you fail to plan, that is my bad. If you fail to plan, you're doing what? You're planning to fail. So it's always very good to plan, in fixing the problem, and then also the plan has to go beyond of how to even how you're going to achieve, your end goal. So we've said the first thing you have to plan. So let's look at the first category. I said it could be a health related problem. So of course you have to start planning on how to fix, an appointment with a doctor if it's medical related, so that you can be able to go and have the problem checked out. Probably there's a problem with something to do with your eyes, or maybe your hearing, or whatever it is that is has to be fixed. So you have to plan, and then just go and make that appointment, and then you get the problem fixed. That's pretty direct. Now, the second category was the environmental related problem that might be able to shift your focus, that is making you not concentrate. Now, when you talk about environmental, there are so many factors within your environment that can be leading to distraction. Now, the first one could just be the physical environment itself, in terms of noise, in terms of lighting, in terms of just the arrangement of the physical environment. There are places where it's a place that is not even inviting for you to do something. So let us look at, if let's say the problem is lighting, maybe you can see properly, and the lighting problem can actually lead again to a health problem. So that one, you have to make sure that you're studying or you're doing your project in a well lit environment, so that one, you don't affect your eyesight and you can be able to concentrate on what you're doing. Number two, the problem with your environment could be maybe there's a lot of clutter in your environment. You're trying to study, but then you have books and papers, lying all over. So these are part of the things that cause distraction. So you have to get your environment organized. If possible, put or store away everything that you don't need for a particular kind of project or study, and then you only bring it to the environment when needed. Okay, another thing that causes a lot of distraction, and especially to students, is some of these things, like it could be a TV, a phone, and mostly students, you find them, they are always on phone. You're studying and your phone is buzzing. So anything that shifts your focus from your main goal, that is a distractor. So you have to like either you turn down the volume of your TV, or switch off the TV itself, the radio. I don't know if people still listen to radios anyway. The radio, and also you have to make that decision. Like if it's time for studies, a phone is a no. Switch off your phone, turn it into silent mode, or put it on flight mode. Of course, if I say you put it, on a vibration mode, it's not going to help, because it's still going to buzz and it's going still to distract you. So, and if possible, just don't bring the phone into the study environment. Like if you've scheduled to do a certain work for an hour or 1.5 hours, I mean, you can do without your phone for that short period of time, right? So I think you should not bring these things into the environment, because they will only distract you further. Now, another thing that causes, when we're talking about the environmental related, think about the people who exist in your environment, because I don't think you exist in a bubble. You have people, you have family members around that might be causing distractions here and there. So it's always good to bring to their attention, you make them know what plans you have, and then so that sometimes they actually support you, knowing that, if you're going to study and you tell them, I don't need to be distracted, I'm so sure they will respect that. But if you just let, maybe they keep walking in and out of the room, now that will be a distraction that we are trying to, avoid. Now, let's look at number 3. Now, number 3 problem, it's more of just, I call it habitual. It's just more of bad practices. Things that we've been doing over time until it became a norm. It became part of us, And there could be bad practices that are what have been causing you not to be able to study. Now, what are some of these bad practices that we've been, doing? Now, for instance, you sit down to, a study, yeah, and then you realize that you forgot something. So you're always working, you're always back and forth. You're picking something, like you're not organized. So organization is just one of the things that you have to bring into your system. You have to be very organized. Number 2 bad habitual related issue is not being able to say no. There are people who don't have the willpower, just to either tell their friends, no, I need to study, and then we will maybe do something later. Maybe your friend calls you, like, we need to go to this party, there's this birthday party here, we're going to meet friends, and then you think like, hooray, that is like the best thing right now, I'll study later. No, you have to be in control of your own life. Learn to say no, and people will respect that once they get to know what you stand for. Like sometimes you could be the strong point that can assist someone else. Someone will say, okay, then let us study, and then after this we go to a certain place. Probably you're the one who can be able to break this cycle among your friends. But then if you're the weakest link, then it's very difficult, to fix that problem. So learn to have a strong will to say no to things that aren't aligned with your plan. They aren't aligned with your timetable. You have to come up with, as I said, in the planning I said, you have to come up, even planning, you have to, let's say you want to study. You have to know like ahead, what am I going to study? What topic am I going to study? So you have to come up with, research on questions that you will want them answered after a certain particular time study. You also want to make your studying not so boring. Studying just from the textbook sometimes can really be pretty boring. So how can you be able to avoid things like boredom, right? Now, whenever you're free, and I'm not talking about this in the study environment, try to watch maybe a certain video, whether it's on YouTube or you research on Google about maybe a certain particular phenomena. Right, maybe you're going to study about maybe earthquakes or tsunami, or you're just you're even like war or battle or whatever it is that you want. There's so much material that is out there that that you can research on, that makes it more interesting, or you can listen to talks, podcasts, and everything that is prior to going to a certain class or a certain study environment, so that whenever you're going now to revise from the textbook, it becomes easy because you already have an insight of some of the things that you expect to find there. And so you look at the differences and similarities. I think that way you can be able to tackle problems of boredom. Another habitual problem is procrastination, and I think this one, many people fall under this category. You need to do something, you leave it for later. I will do it next time, I will do it after, and then you never get to do. Now, how does procrastination come in when it comes to focusing? Now, you sit down to focus on something, and then you find that, oh, there's something else you're supposed to do. Now it becomes a distractor because you were supposed to call somebody else. You were supposed to do a certain particular job, but you really didn't do. So how do we deal with this? Now, because remember, it's something that you've been doing over a long period of time. It's not something that can just be broken once. So I recommend you come up with, let's say, a blank sheet of paper into the study environment. Like, let's say you remember you're supposed to have called somebody, and then that is during your study time. Now, I'm not saying you go pick your phone and call them, but take that sheet of paper and note down any distraction that comes to mind. You remember that you're supposed to call somebody, write it down, call XYZ. Put the paper aside, continue studying. You come again, you remember about something else, jot it down on that particular piece of paper, such that immediately you finish studying, you can be able to tackle these things so that they don't become again distractions when your next time off, the next time you have a class or a study session. And then you also have to organize your work, and like just how things will flow during your study time. You don't sit down and then remember, like, I'm thirsty, I need a glass of water, I don't have a pen, or I need a scale. And all these things are supposed to be within reach, things that don't require you to be just moving from one place to another. Now, there's one thing I want you to remember, that there is a relationship between distraction and direction. There's a direct proportion relationship between, once you shift, when something distracts you, now your concentration, the direction of your concentration will shift to another, area, because you are looking at the book, you're studying something, and then you remembered you're supposed to call somebody. So your mindset, or your map in your brain starts focusing on something, so the direction shifts. So you're supposed to try to avoid distraction so that you are able to accomplish certain tasks that you intend to in a particular period of time. Now, with that said, I want to give you some extra bonus tips that will also improve your focus. Now, remember, your health is very, very important. Studying while you're sick, or maybe there is something wrong with just your mental well-being, or you're tired, wherever, it will not improve your studies. It is only going to make more distractions. So how can we fix the health-related things? Number one is, you can't study throughout, like from morning to evening, right? You need to have breaks in between. You need to have a schedule of, like, I'll do this from this time to this time, take maybe a 30 minutes break, and then again come back to study. So number one is to have a break. Number two is to healthy eating. What they say, like, you're what you eat. What you put inside your body, determines how your body will function. They say garbage in, garbage out. Like, if let's say your diet is just full of junk, sugar, wheat, now you're going to slow down your system. Your metabolic rate is going to go so down that your body is not going to function very well. So it's always important to eat healthy. I'm not saying like do away with all these junk things, but do everything in moderation. Even the healthy things, you just can't eat like a lot of them, because too much of anything is poisonous. Even water, as much as we're saying it's very important to drink water, a lot of it again is not so good. Now, in relation to that, another way to fix other than that is you have to hydrate. Drink enough water. I didn't say drink a lot of water, I said drink enough water, right? We have so many apps that you can follow. Like if you're the kind of person who doesn't like drinking water, I know of so many people, like they tell you we forget to drink water, right? So you can actually have a reminder of when to drink water. Now, of course, there are these hourly reminders, or like, but once you get used to the habit of taking your water, right, you literally, you don't even need the app, your body will demand for it. I'm talking about this from my real life experience. So once you get into the habit, your body, you'll always be feeling thirsty, and so it's always good, like to avoid, like, especially we talk about avoiding distraction, like waking up to get a glass of water. Always have a bottle of water next to you when you're studying, but it's very important to hydrate. And even the quantity that you drink, you also need to drink your water right. How is that? All right. Okay. What is the problem of not drinking your water right? One, let's say you feel thirsty and then you decide to down like 2 or 3 glasses of water at a go. You know what that will do to you? In less than half an hour, you will need a bathroom break. That's for sure. So, the a good habit of drinking water is drink in sips, little by little, so that your body can be able to take in. I'm not saying going to the bathroom is bad, but you don't need to just distract yourself in the just because you drank a lot of water, and then now you have to go to the bathroom, and in the process of going to the bathroom, that shift of focus and direction, and again there'll be a lot of distraction along the way. So try to avoid all these things so that you are able to just concentrate in the environment that you're in, and achieve your goals. So last but not least, one of the biggest problems that people get, sometimes you feel so tired and you don't know why. It is because you don't get enough sleep. You're up all night, you're up on phone, you're talking to your friends, you are an all-nighter, you're like outside, just doing parties and stuff, and then you expect to come and study. That will not work. The body has a way of how it functions, right? Now you're supposed to like at least get 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, not the tossing and turning kind of sleep. So again, if you can sleep properly, could be a problem with maybe your health or something. But then you have to have like a long and uninterrupted sleep where you can rest, your body can be able to just relax, your mind can be able to refocus, so that by the time you wake up and you're supposed to do a certain kind of task or study, whatever, you're fresh enough for your your brain to function and focus again. Now, I know I have not covered everything, but I just tried to come up with some of the things that can be able to help a student or a person focus. So if there's any other point that you think I have left out, yeah, let me know in the comment section below. And that, just as I said at the beginning of the vlog, like from now on, every other video that we'll be doing will be giving a shout out to people who comment actively on our platform, so that we can just recognize your presence, because your presence is important to us. Until next time, bye bye.